Joining me now is Democratic Michigan Congresswoman Elissa Slotkin, a former CIA analyst and Pentagon official. Congresswoman, it's really good to see you. Thanks for being with us. So I'm wondering what your level of concern is about this recent escalation. There was another Iranian drone that took off and U.S. forces shot it down this morning. What are your concerns about what Hezbollah will do when or if Israel launches the long-anticipated ground invasion into Gaza?
Yeah, well, look, I think we're already seeing the regionalization of this war, right? U.S. forces have been attacked in Syria, in Iraq, in two different places, and from Iranian-backed groups in Yemen, off the coast of Yemen. We've seen some rockets from Hezbollah into Israel, but I think that, most people you talk to here in Washington in the national security space would say, particularly if there's a serious ground invasion, you're going to see Hezbollah and other Iranian-backed groups accelerate, get involved. And, I think that that is just one of the many considerations that those of us with a national security background are trying to process through and urge, like all parties, to just take a breath for a second and figure out what we understand to be the strategic goals of next steps.
NBC News is now also reporting that the House could move ahead separately on an Israel supplemental, and the Senate would then make a case for Ukraine to try to be added. How does that work? Or signals from the new speaker is that they would have to be on separate tracks. We don't know how this is going to be worked out.
Yeah, the truth is, I think that right now you have a situation where a lot of my Republican colleagues are somehow very supportive of supplying aid to Israel, but absolutely against supplying aid to Ukraine. And so while I think there are a majority of voices who do support that help to Ukraine, that continued help, politics is the art of the possible. And so I don't know if we're going to keep it together as one bill, if we're going to split it apart. We have a very new speaker who's got, very little time to prove himself and being able to get things done before the government shuts down on November 17th. And this issue of aid for Ukraine, for Israel, for Taiwan is wrapped up in this new speakership. So to be continued.
And what about these latest attacks against U.S. troops in Syria and Iraq, the 20 since October 17th? How concerning is that? Are they just probing us and trying to remind everyone that Hezbollah is out there as a threat?
Yeah, I think they're making a statement, and they're saying that if this engagement continues, this ground operation moves ahead, that they are looking to bring the United States of America into this fight, and it's just another reason why we need to be really thoughtful and judicious. And as someone who served in places like Ramadi, in Anbar province, I did 3 tours in Iraq alongside the military. I feel very strongly that it's important that we really understand what the next steps are from the Israeli government, both for them, so that we understand the casualty rate on urban warfare in the Arab world. Take it from the United States of America. It is high, and it is very, very difficult to distinguish between combatants and innocents and civilians. Our strategic goals, what are they? What's the end state that they're aiming for? Particularly since the United States of America is now being pulled in, we need to understand all of those things. And I think that's why there are a lot of voices here on the Hill who have served, the military veterans, people in the intelligence community who are now, I think, speaking with one voice about the need to learn the lessons that the United States learned really the hard way before proceeding apace.
In fact, that's exactly what President Biden urged in his big speech. And it's what 49% of the Israeli populace, according to the latest polls, are saying. Don't go in, give the negotiators more time to try to get the hostages out.
Right.
From your experience with urban warfare and what you know about Mosul and Fallujah, with these tunnels, what are the chances of them going in with tanks and being able to map the territory well enough to save hostages, know where they are, and get them out of tunnels, some of which are 2 stories deep?
Look, I've been talking to a lot of folks at the Department of Defense and asking them if the United States of America was about to launch this operation with largely reservist soldiers, what do we think the casualty rate would be? What would we expect in terms of injured and killed? And they're saying some really deeply disturbing numbers, like 30%, either injured or harmed confirmed. And so I think that it again, both for the Israelis, for civilians who are in Gaza, just making sure we take a breath for a minute and figure this out. I don't, the United States, look at Fallujah in the United States in 2004, right? We could not succeed there the first time we went in. We had to stop. It was too deadly to the United States. We couldn't distinguish between civilians and militants. We took a pause. We gave al-Qaeda 6 months to regroup, to reorganize, to rest, and went back in again, just as deadly, just as devastating. I mean, we have real-world examples, and I'm urging my Department of Defense colleagues to have these tough conversations, that part of being a partner and an ally to another country is having tough conversations about these things, particularly if we're going to be dragged in.